All right, good to have you back. As we continue with the mindset, that millionaire psychology, we have to talk about motivation. That time where you just don't feel like doing it, you don't feel motivated, you're not on track, something doesn't feel quite right. It comes back to motivation. That science and motivation, I've cracked the code. I spent years researching this, trying to figure it out, because some people stay motivated and some people don't. You can stay motivated all the time. You can stay on track, and that will propel you to unlimited success.
Welcome back. Again, this is Kurt. Welcome to Millionaire Psychology. So here's the question. Have you ever had a day when you didn't feel like doing the things you know you needed to do? Anybody want to admit that one? I guarantee you'll have moments as you pursue wealth or success or whatever your goal is where you don't feel like doing the things you know you need to do. I've spent years studying the psychology of motivation. What keeps people on track? As I interview millionaires, I ask them, how did you stay motivated even when you didn't feel like doing it? And I found some really interesting answers I want to share with you. It was also interesting to note that you go to the success seminars and people at the end are very excited. You collide a match with their energy. They were going to make it happen. And you follow up with them 2 weeks later and then nothing's changed. You can go to anybody on the street and say, excuse me, ma'am, would you like to be financially independent? And they'll say, well, yeah. Sir, would you like to lose weight? Sir, would you like to have better relationships? Yeah. And we'll say, what are you doing about it? And then you get the blank stare. Let's break it down into a rudimentary level here. There are only two motivators in life. The two motivators are inspiration and desperation. We could say pleasure, pain, reward, punishment. But let's just use this one, inspiration or desperation. Most people are motivated out of desperation, out of pain, out of punishment, because they have to do it. The challenge with desperation, it's very de-energizing and it's very temporary. I mean, you can motivate anybody with desperation. It was Al Capone, the famous gangster, that says, you can get pretty far with a nice word, but you get much further with a nice word and a gun. Okay? In fact, does anybody know any lazy teenagers? I will teach you how to motivate them. They're on the couch watching TV, they won't move. You try your best motivational appeal, they still won't move. You go out in the garage, get a can of gasoline, and you light the couch on fire. Okay? What are you going to see? Instant motivation, faster than they've ever moved in their life. But once the couch has been replaced and you've been arrested, they turn back into lazy teenagers. So let me give you the formula here. There's two camps here. Some people say, well, motivation's a waste of time because it doesn't last. And the other camp says, well, neither does a bath, but it's good to take one every once in a while. And I'm kind of in the middle here. You need to motivate yourself, but you need to do it in the right way. So let's map this out for you. Understand that in the middle here is our comfort zone. We do tend to be creatures of habit, and we need to rip ourselves out of that comfort zone. We need to get it to inspiration. But let's talk about this. Let's map this out. The two motivators is inspiration and desperation. Now, that inspiration or desperation could be either internal or external. Let me explain this. It could be from the inside, the internal, coming from within, that's your feelings, and external could be somebody else that's motivating you. Now, let me map this out, and I'm going to make this come alive so it makes really sense to you. When you do this the right way, you will always be motivated. Now, what I want to point out right here and right now, that some days you'll be motivated out of desperation. And that's okay, because desperation is better than inactivity. And let me ask, have you ever been to a dentist out of inspiration? I didn't think so. We want to spend as much time as possible in inspiration, but some days will be desperation. Let's map it out. Now, external desperation could be fear. External things scare you. They give you desperation. They give you fear. It's a terrible motivator, but it works. It works in the short term, but it is better than not doing anything. Let's take your present job, for example. You hate your job. You don't want to go to work. But out of external desperation, you go out of that fear. Because if you don't go to work, you're going to get fired. If you don't get to go to work, you're going to lose your home, lose a spouse, lose this. That fear drives you. That's why they say most heart attacks happen on Monday morning. It's this right here, that desperation, that fear, that, hey, you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. Again, I don't want you to spend too much time here, but this is probably better than doing nothing. It is better than doing nothing. The next one's internal desperation, which is obligation or duty. So you don't want to go to work, but something inside you, out of obligation or duty, gives you desperation. You think, well, I promised I'd be there to finish this project. I'm supposed to be there to manage these employees, and they're been paying me for this money for so many years, and I feel this duty, this obligation to go, and you go. That would be obligation. Now let's move to the other side, the inspiration side, where external things like love or respect inspire us to go to work. So we go to work out of inspiration, out of love or respect. We go to work to provide the best for our families. We go to work to send our children to the best schools. We go to work to get into a nicer home. We go to work to take our spouse on a world cruise. Those external things, usually family and friends, inspire us to go to work. Top of the list is passion. Internal inspiration. You love what you're doing. You're changing the world. You don't need an alarm clock to wake yourself up in the morning. You have that passion. You are on track. This makes the biggest difference in your success. And here is the secret. The secret, first of all, is to do your 4 parts of your goal, and then you do this. And if you can come up with 2 or 3 reasons in each one of these quadrants, and you have a moment you don't feel like doing the things you know you need to do, you will find something that will motivate you. Some days it'll be fear, and that's okay. Some days it'll be passion, that's even better. But if you could come up with a couple in each one of these quadrants, what a big difference it'll make in your ability to motivate yourself, your fuel to success. If you want to become a millionaire, let's go through this. External desperation, fear, what's that? Bankruptcy, getting kicked out of your home, your friends and family mocking you, whatever it is, put it down. What about internal desperation, the obligation? I'm better than this. I deserve more than this. I haven't made it this far, but you're feeling that desperation, that obligation that your family deserves more. Why don't they have a bigger home? Why can't you send them to private school? Why don't you have nicer vacations? That could be an obligation. On the other side, the inspiration, the love or respect might be sending your children to the best schools, to make sure you have a great retirement for your spouse, maybe to have leave, maybe it's to help your children, and fill in the blank. That's love or respect. And internal inspiration, that passion, you're given to a charity. Maybe you've started your own charity. You're giving back. You're changing the world. You're making the world a better place. That is the difference. Again, if you can do 2 or 3 in each one of these quadrants, you'll see a big difference in your motivation, your success, and your happiness. Again, I want to reiterate it again. Some days it's going to be desperation. That's okay. As you grow in this process, I want you to spend more time in inspiration, and it'll make a huge difference in your success. And part of it, too, is understanding passion. Understanding that your DNA coded for greatness. Understand you have a purpose out there. And you have to ask yourself, what is your purpose? What is your passion? Now, some of you know exactly what that is, and some of you are still searching for it. In fact, let me give you a few questions that will help you discover your passion and your purpose. You might not get this right away. It might take you over time. But this will make a big difference in your success. Question number 1. Strange Uncle Frank has passed away, left you with $10 million. You never have to work again in your life. What are you going to do with your life? You've already taken care of all your plastic surgery, and you've already seen the world, so you don't have to worry about that. You still have $10 million in the bank. What are you going to do? So $10 million in the bank, what are you going to do? Question number 2. You find a lamp, you rub it, a genie appears, but this genie has some stipulations. Genie says you get 1 wish. So here's the thing. He says if you could change 1 thing in the world, that's the wish. You could get to change 1 thing in the world. So the question is, if you could change 1 thing in the world, what would it be? Change 1 thing in the world, what would it be? Next question, pretty simple. is if you were guaranteed success, if you wanted to try something and you knew you'd be successful. So the question would be something like this. If you knew you could not fail, what would you do? You were guaranteed success. Would you be a public speaker? Would you write a book? Would you run for a political office? What would you do? If you're guaranteed success, you knew you would not fail, what would you do? And if you really want to take this assignment to the next level, write your eulogy. You're 97 years old. You've lived the perfect life. Write it down. Tell us about it. And you do these questions, you will find your purpose and your passion. A lot of times your purpose and passion is a little like sculpting. You're getting a little closer, you're getting a little closer, you're getting a little closer. This works. This will motivate you to your success. So let's talk about homework. What is your inspiration versus your desperation? Fill that one out. What is your inspiration versus your desperation? Do these assignments. It'll make a big difference in your success, in your ability to think, act, and do what a millionaire does.
All right, your favorite part, homework. We got to do homework. Again, this is where the rubber meets the road. So why don't you sit down and at least take a look at your goals, what you want to accomplish, your motivation. What is your inspiration? What is your vision? What is your hope? What are you moving towards? And also put your desperation. What are your fears? What are your worries? What are you moving away from? Remember the answer, it's both. Both will motivate you. Now, hopefully we're going to spend more time in inspiration than desperation, but you need to have both to stay on track.